This exercise is heel raises, which works the calf muscle. You're going to start with your feet hip width apart. So not shoulder width apart, hip width apart. Thinking about where the position of your pelvis is, that you're not sticking your bottom out or under. Shoulder, chin. So hold your body in your best posture you can. And all we're going to do is raise up slowly onto the balls of the feet and back down again. So if you need the support of a chair, that's fine. And it's both feet together. And you're only going to come up as high as you comfortably can without your ankles wobbling. Hold it towards the top and control it back down. For some people, that's the hard part, controlling it back down. Now, I'm standing on double mats here, so I'm challenging myself just that little bit more. If you've got a really thick carpet or fitness mat that you're standing on and you're struggling, maybe move onto a hard floor. If you're doing it on a hard floor and finding it really easy, then please challenge yourself. Take it a little bit higher. There's another exercise that's really good at working the muscles around the knee to help support and strengthen the knee. But you need to make sure that your knees are pointing forward, your kneecaps are pointing forward. And that your knees aren't, you aren't knocking them in, but you've got that little bit of gap between your knees. And just do as many as you comfortably can. You can always come back and do a few more later or another day. But really good exercise to keep the blood flowing through the legs. Well done. Let us shake out. Next exercise is seated ankle pumps. Blocks on the floor are only so you can see my feet. They tend to disappear into the floor without them. So you're sitting nice and tall. Think about your upper body posture. Feet are hip width apart. If you're unsure, feet together, toes out, heels out. Feet should be pointing forward. Gap between the knees. Knees directly above the ankles. And all we're going to do is you breathe out. You're going to lift the feet, the toes up, keeping the heels on the floor. And you're going to return on the in breath. Breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Just lifting them as high as you comfortably can, trying to get them a little bit higher if you can. And be aware of your upper body posture. So head is looking forward, so you should be looking directly at me. You can hold the chair for support, but really be aware that your shoulders are relaxed, that your knees aren't dropping in. Really good this one. If you find that you're tripping over things and shuffling your feet, it's going to help strengthen those muscles in the shins. Quite intense actually for something that looks so simple. Breathing out as you lift up, in as you come down. Keep that breath going. So breathing out through the mouth, in through the nose. And to keep that breath nice and deep into the rib cage. You're not breathing shallowly. If you put your hands on your shoulders, they shouldn't move as you breathe. So think of taking that breath into the back of the rib cage. 2 more if you can. But as always, if you've had enough now, stop. You can always come back and do this again later. Or another day. Well done. We'll give that a little bit of a shake out. Sitting nice and upright in your chair, slightly forward. Make sure the chair's nice and stable. I ask to extend your right leg forward. And we're going to go with circles. So you're trying to get some mobility in the hip. Circling round. So this exercise is aimed at getting some mobility in the hip. Don't worry if you can't make it as big as that. If that's as far as you're going, that's fine. just make it as big as you comfortably can. I'm using my hands on the chair to help support myself. And let's change direction. So go with what's comfortable for you. If it has to be smaller, smaller is good too. You feel it's getting you some movement. So if that is what you're managing, that's fine. It's the hip that we're looking at moving. You're going to get some mobility in the knee at the same time. And rest. Take it with the other leg, taking it forward, out and round. Drawing a circle on the floor. Sitting tall, thinking about your upper body posture. Don't let your shoulders round forward. Lengthen the back of your neck. Protract the chin slightly and try and stay seated upright. You're doing great. But again, it's fine. If this is as much as you can manage, try and straighten the leg out and then circle it round. As large a circle as you can comfortably do, and let's change direction. Trying to keep the other leg as still as possible when you do this. Engaging your core if you can, thinking about maybe pulling up your pelvic floor, but our focus is on getting movement in this hip. Well done. You're going to need your band for this exercise, sitting forward on your chair, feet underneath. And you're going to have the feet hip width apart. You're going to loop the band so that it's round the balls of your feet, but not pulling on your little toe. Put a bit of tension in the band and lift the toes up off the ground, keeping the heels down. And you're just going to push down and lift. Now, as you do this, there's going to be a tendency for your feet, your big toes, to want to come in closer to each other. Have a quick check, look down. Are your feet still going forward and backwards? So you're going to feel this in the front of your shins, maybe a bit in your calves, but also in the outside of your ankles. So just do as many as is comfortable for you. Lift and push. That's helping to strengthen and mobilise the ankle. Doesn't matter if you're not lifting as high as I am. You notice my feet are forward of my knees to allow me to get that lift and lower, lift and lower. A couple more if you can, but as always, your choice. You stop when you've had enough and rest. Release the band. Might want to do a couple of ankle circles each way just to release and loosen the ankle. This exercise is for the quads, so front of the thighs and the hip flexors, and I'm using a circular band. If you don't have one, any fitness band will work. You're just going to wrap it underneath with the feet and knees together, fold it over nice and flat, fold the other side over, hands on the top, and from there take the legs a little bit apart, and you can do it there with your hands on your thighs. I'm going to use the circular band. It does make it a little bit easier if you've got one. So ideally you're going to take the shoulders back, relax, hold here, and all we're going to do is a seated march. So you're going to breathe in. As you breathe out, you're going to lift up and down, lift and down. So the tighter the band is, the harder you're going to be working. Lift and lower. Well done. As always with these exercises, if you're finding it too much, then stop. Be really aware that you're not leaning back. You should be nicely relaxed. Just back of the leg, back of the neck, lengthen, chin retracted. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. So the band should be relatively close to your knees, but not pushing into the back of the knees. Remember, when you've had enough, rest, but you're going to really feel this in the hip flexors. Really good if you've got tight hip flexors to work them. And we're going to finish off with a little stretch in a moment. always like to stretch out the muscles as we go here, just to give a little bit of release. Couple more if you can. Breathing out, breathing in. Out through the mouth, in through the nose. You can make it slower. The slower you go, the harder it is. But it doesn't have to be particularly slow for this one. I'm aiming for the sort of speed I'm going here. One more each side. Well done. Now, slip your band off. I'm going to stick mine out the way. And what I'm going to ask you to do now, I'm going to turn my chair so you can see, is slide that leg back, feel the stretch through the hip. Now, if you're not feeling a stretch there and you're comfortable standing up, come up to a standing position, both feet pointing forward and tuck under. You might want to be holding on to something here or not, but you're feeling pelvis going under, feeling that stretch in the hip flexor. But for most people, as long as you've got a stable chair and you can hang on and feel that stretch, let's change that to the other side. So again, you have the option of standing up, or you can actually come down onto the floor with that knee on the floor and take that foot further forward to feel the stretch in that hip. You're doing great, well done. So next exercise works the outer thighs. It's called hip abduction, which is taking the leg away from the body. Now I've got a circular band around my legs here. If you don't have one, an ordinary fitness band works quite well. I'm just going to show you. I've actually got one the same colour as this. You need to sit slightly forward on your chair and make sure it's nice and stable. Take the band underneath, cross one side over with the knees together, cross the other over, put your hands on the top. That is going to give you that circle. You could tie a knot in it. I don't like that. I would rather just put my hands on the top and feel what's going on. I'm going to take that off. It's a little bit easier for me to concentrate with this circular band. So what we're going to do, sitting upright, think about your upper body posture, and you're going to take that leg out to the side and back in, out to the side and back in. Now, watch, I'm actually trying to move my knee and let the foot come along. So I'm not taking the foot out to the side, it's the knee. You're trying to keep them level. So out to the side and in, out, out. I'd ask you just to let that foot dangle and not quite put it on the floor, because if you do that, you really are going to be moving that correct muscle. Now I've got a slightly slidey chair. I'm sliding a little bit backwards and forwards here. So if you've got a band like this that you're not having to hold on to, you could hold on to the chair as well, but watch you're not scrunching your shoulders up. Keep those shoulders nicely relaxed and down, neck long. And you're just going to do as many as is comfortable for you. Once it starts to really ache and you find that maybe all of a sudden your foot's coming out to the side instead of leading with the knee, foot and ankle should really just be dangling below the knee. All the work is coming from the hips. Well done. A couple more if you can, but it's your body, your workout. You do as many as you're comfortable doing. You're doing great. Oh, can we do two more? And that's the last one on the right, last one on the left. Okay, I like to have a good circle of my hips. When I finish that one, I'm going to take the band off and just give it a little bit of a circle. Release those hips out.